Hello, Olathe North. In school, we are feeding our minds, but we also need to take care of our bodies. I'm Vanessa.
And I'm Claire. This week, we take a look at our health, both physical and mental, all this week on your Eagles Perch.
Let's start with a look at the future of healthcare. Olathe North has several medical programs where students can explore careers and health fields. Raina asked these students and more about our healthy future.
We have two amazing healthcare programs here at Olathe North, Sports Med and Medical Profession. I talked to Mr. Olathe, Kayla, and Savannah to gain more knowledge about the differences and similarities between the two.
I am the Medical Professions Assistant Facilitator.
Sports medicine.
Sports med.
First, Mr. Olathe describes the main differences between the two programs.
The way I kind of put it is that Sports Med does big stuff and Medical Professions does little stuff. We're both focused on human healthcare and people who are interested in healthcare, but Sports Med is a lot of times more focused on the exercise science and physical therapy side, so they do muscles, joints, gross anatomy, things like that, whereas Medical Professions is more designed around prepping people for a pre-medical education, so we focus on molecular biology, genetics, and research.
All of our interviewees describe what they do in their program.
I think the programs are really good at giving students opportunities that they wouldn't have normally, so situations where like, for example, last night we had our senior presentation, so our students were talking about all of their clinical internships through Medical Professions. And so we had students that were on heart catheterization floor, the birthplace, the NICU, and talking about how they got to get real-world experience in the medical field in high school settings. It's pretty cool.
I feel like you learn a lot more than you knew coming in, obviously, and how athletes' bodies, if they get injured, how you help them and stuff like that.
It's taught me about first aid and CPR, and I've learned more about the human body and how the body works, and just body movement.
We train the sports teams here at North, and we also learn a lot and do different programs.
All of the aspects of the programs make them seem wonderful, but the people are what make them truly special.
Favorite part of the program is definitely the students. Our students are really self-motivated and they're really passionate about what they do. We definitely push them in the academy, but they respond well to those challenges, and it's rewarding as a teacher to be able to give them something that I'm not 100% sure at the beginning that they're going to be able to do, and then they knock it out of the park.
I like the family environment. You know a lot of people, you meet a lot of people, teachers are super cool.
Kayla and Savannah talk about what got them interested in the medical field, with Mr. Olathe saying that students' exposure to the field can change what they want to do in the future.
My mom, she's an X-ray tech at Olathe Hospital, and I like to hear what she does and everything.
My medical problems. I have a lot of injuries, so that helped.
Yeah. The number one that we always get is pediatrics. A lot of our kids are really interested in going into pediatrics. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that when you think about the contact students have had with the medical field, most students have got contact with pediatricians because they're kids. And so it's kind of interesting to watch those preferences and kind of what's the most popular choice change as they go from freshmen, where they might not have that much exposure to stuff, to all the way through their senior year, where we'll have much more diverse interests. People will be interested in radiology, orthopedics, anesthesiology, orthodontics, genetic counseling. Some kids want to go into research, so kind of watching that interest blossom out is really cool.
Kayla and Savannah follow up by telling us what they want to do.
Right now, I want to work with stem cell experimental stuff, so I can help other people and help them get better, like me.
Maybe an EMT. That was really cool to help people like that.
Yeah. Lastly, Mr. Olathe and Savannah describe what equipment they get to use in their programs and recent medical discoveries they know about in the field.
I know that they're getting a new table thingy that is going to allow you to work on the body, and without actually working on the body, you get to see the interior and do work on it. Oh, there's one recent one. the vaping one about how now there's like it's causing like a new sickness or like ammonia or something because of it.
Really?
I think it's that's what I've heard. I'm not for sure.
Yeah.
I get all my information from my parents basically, but I know that it's causing like new problems that smoking didn't. So.
The big ones that we talk about recently is CRISPR-Cas9. CRISPR is a technology that's used to selectively edit the genome of a cell, and it's kind of like the big deal in biotechnology right now because it allows scientists to selectively edit the genome and change genetic expression kind of at will.
Both the sports med and medical professions programs are wonderful opportunities students in the Olathe School District are lucky to have. I am Raina reporting to you from Eagle Studios.
Our mental and emotional health is just as important as our physical health. Amelia has gathered some facts about mental health to put the issue in perspective.
Oftentimes, people are struggling but don't realize they are. What is mental health?
Anxiety, right?
Brain functions that tend to impede regular patterned life in people. It's when something runs out of control or goes beyond the bounds of what we deem to be functioning. So that's why, like when anybody takes like a first level psychology class or whatever, you think you have every disease because it's normal brain things, but they just run kind of off the table a little bit.
I think that's a fact that anxiety is the most common now according to the statistics, but I mean I also just see it the most as well. But growing up like I did, there weren't all the potential opportunities for triggers to contribute to anxiety like you guys have now growing up. Like obviously social media is a huge thing and there's been research done to show how that has contributed to things like anxiety and depression.
Oh yeah. I mean,
In what ways?
I think that all of the things that I mentioned are important for mental health. Technology likes to get in between it.
The things with social media, there's a lot of compare and despair, and people oftentimes put their best selves and their best versions on social media, and that leads to a lot of, perceptions that people have that aren't really true, that everybody else has it way better than you, and there's just a lot more things to stress about now. Depression, I feel like most of the time, even out of all those symptoms I described, I think that the most prevalent symptom is withdrawal. You'll typically see students staying home more, and I think since depression and anxiety go hand in hand a lot of the times, I think kind of that withdrawal piece, like a lot of students that have anxiety struggle with coming to school and getting to school, and they withdraw and retreat back into their home because being around people makes them anxious, or being around loud noises and the crowds here makes them anxious, and sometimes depression makes you retreat because everything just feels too overwhelming and they don't know how to start schoolwork, or they don't know how to get through each day by day, and so a lot of the times they just retreat and withdraw because they don't know what else to do.
Do you think it's hard for people to talk about mental health? Why?
Yeah. Because I think it makes people uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Why?
So they're scared.
A lot of the times I feel like people think they have to feel better first before they do something. A lot of times people see it as a sign of weakness, and so, but everybody struggles at one point in time in their life, and so it's just kind of trying to get that out there. It sounds cliche probably because you guys have heard it so much through all the suicide prevention screeners, but I would say to probably just make sure you check in with your friends, or just kind of err on the side of caution and just say, hey, I've noticed you've been acting differently and just want to be there for you, because it sounds like something so small, but it really can make the biggest difference. Like everybody just wants to feel acknowledged and heard.
If you are someone who you think is struggling with mental health, please reach out to these resources below. Also, turn your attention towards Emery's segment on how to cope and improve your mental health. Thank you. Amelia Klein with Eagles Perch.
Life can be hard these days, so how do you cope with all the challenges? Emory takes a look at improving our mental health.
Mental illness is one of the most real things in 2019. Teenagers suffer so much pain mentally from the day-to-day fight for positivity. Improving mental health is one of the most difficult things a human can do. Here are some tips to help.
I tend to check up on everyone whenever I get the opportunity to, and like if I know that someone is struggling, just like reach out for them more than usual because it's a really, really tough fight.
Just sitting down and talking to them, because sometimes that's just all what people need, and like showing them that like you're there for them and like you love them.
Here's some people you can trust and turn to for help.
People that have been through the same thing as me are people that I usually go to because it's really hard to like put yourself in someone's position with depression if they don't know like what it's like to like live every day in distraught.
I turn to people who have like been through the same things, and like people who I know who can trust, like my mom, my therapist, counselor, and other trusting people.
Staying happy every day is super hard for someone with a mental illness to do. This is some ways Olathe North students are here to help out.
I really like to write to myself often, and I like to read positive quotes and like look through other people's stories that have been through the same thing to know that it's like worth the fight.
Just looking at like positive quotes and like being with my friends and knowing that like they're there for me.
These things may trigger people with mental illnesses feelings throughout the day.
Honestly, there's not like something that triggers it. Like sometimes I'll just look at myself and like just like start to feel down. It's more of like a mind thing, like nothing like triggers it. It's just like myself.
There's not like a specific thing that triggers it. I would just say like some of it is just like stress and like overthinking things and like thinking a lot of bad things, but I try to keep that off of my mind.
Here are some tips to stay motivated throughout the school day.
I like to write things that I'm looking forward to every week because like without that I don't know where I would be, or like just talking to people that make my day better or brighter, or just like the little things that are important to me, just like music in the car or like seeing my brother when I get home, just things that push me. Yeah.
Just like having the support through people and like always like setting goals for myself or thinking about things that I can look forward to later in the week.
If you see someone having a rough day, please just try and give them some extra love and support. Mental illness can be treated. It takes love. This is Emery from Eagle News.
Wait, Renegade.
Vanessa, why are you singing?
Coming back to school got me down, and this song brings me up.
That's great. Research does show that music can affect our mood. Manny brings this mental musical report.
Did you know that music can help your mental health in many different ways? When you listen to music you like, it will activate brain regions called the limbic and paralimbic areas, which tell your brain you like it and you want to listen to it again. But why do humans like music so much? Our brains love patterns because we can predict what comes next. We also love music because it can make us feel certain emotions. It is good to listen to music that matches your mood because you can relate to it. Sometimes it can keep your mood from changing if you are not in a good mood. So music therapists start with playing a song that matches a person's mood, then works their way up to playing a calm or positive song. Here are some examples of how music can affect your mood. When each song plays, think about what type of mood you feel. Is it motivating? Do you feel happy, sad, angry, or any other emotion? other ways music can help your mental health. Background music can improve performance during cognitive tasks and can improve your memory. It can be used to cope and reduce stress. Relaxing and classical music can help people sleep. Music can also motivate you to exercise and do chores, and it can help regulate your mood. Harvard did a study where they had a group of students listen to Mozart and another group of students sit in silence. After 10 minutes, they took a test. The group that listened to Mozart performed better on the test. Not only listening to music can improve your mental health, but creating and writing music can help your brain think more creatively, and reading and writing lyrics can be an easier way to talk about your feelings. My name is Mandy Griffin, and this is Eagle News.
I'm Claire.
And I'm Vanessa.
And welcome back to school.